Okay, you can see my screen, right? You can see, right? So I will start the lesson, yeah? Okay, you can see. Okay, last week we stopped until here, palisade mesophyll cell. So I hope that you know that there's only 3 kinds of plant cell. They contains chloroplast, which is this, the palisade mesophyll cell, spongy mesophyll cell, and also the gut cell here. Yeah, and also you can notice the difference between the palisade mesophyll cell and also the spongy mesophyll cell. They are varies in terms of their structure. Yeah. For the palisade mesophyll cell, they are very, you can call it columnar. You can describe like this. For the palisade mesophyll cell, it is a tall columnar cell and is closely packed without any space between them. However, in the spongy mesophyll cell, you can see that there's a lot of okay. Oh, Su Yang, you're okay. Sorry, I thought someone logged out. For the spongy mesophyll cell, you can notice the characteristic is you can see that there's a lot of space between the spongy mesophyll cell. So this space between the mesophyll cell we call as large because there's a lot of space, so large, and it's between the cell, so you know it's intercellular air space. And then below that, which is on the lower epidermis of the leaf, we contains the pores. You see there's pores under the lower epidermis of the leaf, you know as the gut cell. You can see there's gut cell. So the gut cell, which is the 2 pair of gut cell, they will form a spore. Sorry, from a stoma. This one, gut cell. Gut cell is referred to this and this. This cell and this cell. Okay. These 2 pair of gut cell, 1, 2, they will produce 1 stoma. You can refer as stoma or stomata. Both of the term is correct. This one is singular. Yes, sorry.
Sorry, I don't think you're showing your screen.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me show you again. I'm not showing my screen, sorry. Oh, okay. You can see, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay, let me repeat again. Just now we talked about the palisade mesophyll cell, spongy mesophyll cell, and also the gut cell. And please always remember that only these 3 kind of cell, they contain the chloroplast. Yeah, you can see the very, very small spot, which is the chloroplast at here. This is a very small spot. You can see a very, very small, tiny green light spot within the cell. Those are the chloroplasts. Yeah. So note the difference between the palisade mesophyll cell and the spongy mesophyll cell. Palisade mesophyll cell is very closely packed. You can see there's a lot, there is very lesser space between the palisade mesophyll cell. Very less space because they are too packed to each other. So how about the spongy mesophyll cell? There's a lot of air space. See, the spongy mesophyll cell, they are very loosely arranged with the large intercellular air space exists among the cell. So yeah, this is a term you can describe them, loosely arranged. So then below that, it will be the gut cell. Gut cell is this 2 red color, yeah, this one, this 2 pair of cell, we call it gut cell. Gut cell will form a very important structure we know as the stoma or stomata. In exam, you can write either stoma or stomata, just like one is singular term, one is plural term, but both of them is being accepted in the exam. So the gut cell, they will produce the stoma. Stoma is just a pores. The pores exist between the gut cell. So what is the importance of the gut cell? You can imagine that in the leaf, okay, they need to perform the gaseous exchange, right? gaseous exchange for the leaf. Gaseous exchange. What is meant by gaseous exchange? Just like in human, we perform gaseous exchange in every minute in our life. We inhale oxygen and it will exhale carbon dioxide, right? So, but in the plant, they work in the opposite way. They will take in the carbon dioxide. So we call it intake of carbon dioxide. Means that they will absorb the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, from the surrounding atmosphere, and enter into the airspace, which is the spongy mesophyll cell, from which is by stomata. They intake carbon dioxide and then they will excrete, they will release the oxygen. They will release oxygen. So oxygen will be released from the leaf to the atmosphere. Okay, they will be released out from stomata to atmosphere. Atmosphere refer to the outside atmosphere. So you can see they work in the totally opposite way. Intake carbon dioxide but release oxygen. So why plant need to get the carbon dioxide is, I'm not sure you still remember for the equation photosynthesis, maybe I can write here. The chemical equations for photosynthesis is carbon dioxide plus water, and they will produce this. Okay, and then Suya, what is this? This is C6H12O6. Glucose. This is glucose, right? Yeah, and then please remember that you need to balance the equation. Yeah, so 6 and 6 here. And then please don't please don't forget to write on the top of the equation, it will be the sunlight. Yeah, because photosynthesis is a process that they will convert the light energy, become the chemical energy. So upper part is sunlight, then lower part will be the chlorophyll. Okay, chlorophyll. It's not chloroplast, it's chlorophyll. Okay, because in the next few lessons you will know that the photosynthesis actually happen inside the chlorophyll. It's not chloroplast, but chloroplast, they do contain chlorophyll. Sorry, let me check my WeChat. Someone WhatsApp me. Okay. Okay, I continue it. Chlorophyll, sunlight. Okay, please remember this equation in your brain. Okay, so as you know that the platelet mesophyll cell, they have the chloroplast and they have the highest number of chloroplasts compared with the spongy mesophyll cell. Yeah, contains the highest number. See, highest number of chloroplasts. Spongy cell, they have the lesser amount. They just have a moderate amount of chloroplasts. So the reason that the platelet mesophyll cell, they contains highest number of chloroplasts is due to platelet mesophyll cell, they are located on the upper epidermis of the leaf. You can see it just below the, we call as waxy cuticle layer. Yeah, this is we know as the upper epidermis. Sorry, this one is the upper epidermis. They are just directly exposed to the sunlight. So this will help to maximize the absorption of the sunlight. under the upper epidermis of the leaf as possible. You can see it's column shape. Column means that it's columnar, tall columnar cell. You see, you can describe them as tall because it's very tall, right? Very long and rectangular. So it's tall columnar cell. For your information, in biology, this columnar means that something, the cell with a shape rectangular. So that we call it as columnar. Columnar means that long rectangular cell shape. So they have a lot of chloroplasts to maximize the photosynthesis. So this is a keyword you should include in your answer. Maximize the sunlight absorption to get the maximum rate of photosynthesis. Okay, so those are the story for the mesophyll cell. Okay, so let's continue to the next chapter. So as you already know that human is a very complex system. Okay, we should share that this human is formed by several complex systems, which is made up from a group of the organs, and then the organ itself is made up from the group of specific tissues that will work together to perform a specific function. So this is just for your understanding. See, from the cell to tissue to organs to the organ system, then finally it will become a complex organism like us. Okay, so now maybe we can try to do this question. Yeah, because we just learned it, right? So this is the IGCSE passive question. Okay. This image, they show a germinating seed showing the growing root. So Adam Suyang, do you want to have a guess on what is the J structure? This is the seed, right? And then this is the roots. Okay, this is roots. Then how about J? Do you want to have a guess? J is the structure that we learned before, which is the plant under the plant cell.
Hair cell.
Yeah, it's a root hair cell. Correct. Yeah, it's a root hair cell. Yeah, so you can see it looks something like this. So the exam asks you to describe and explain how the structures seen in J are adapted for the function. So how many marks? 5 marks. Okay, 5 marks. So whenever you answer the exam question, you should always looking at the mark. Okay, because you just if they give you 5 marks, you just write enough the 5 point only, 5 or 6 point. No need to write more than that. So because you should save your time to do another question. So you can write like this: J is root hair cell. Then they ask you to describe and explain. So root hair cell, so you should describe their structure, which is the external appearance of the root hair cell. What you can see from the image is root hair cell is a long and thin cell, right? It's very long and thin. Okay, then it has a long extension of cytoplasm. Yeah, you can refer to here. Yeah, this one, see. Root hair cell. Okay. Yeah. Long and thin. Okay, with a very long extension. And remember that there's no chloroplast exists in root hair cell, yeah? No chloroplast. So why they should have a very long extension? This is because that they want to increase total surface area. Sorry, I think my word is quite small. I will enlarge it. Yeah, they want to increase the total surface area. In biology, total surface area is very important. Yeah, you always can see this term in the surface or in the organs that they require to increase their rate of the absorption. So you can see they want to increase total surface area in order to increase the rate of absorption for water and mineral ion. Okay, you also can say it has thin wall. And then secondly, then you can describe what happens to the root hair cell, you see. So why should they have such a long and thin structure? And then you can describe something about how they absorb the water and mineral ions. Okay, waters will diffuse from soil with higher water potential into cell set of root hair cell with lower water potential by osmosis. Have you heard about osmosis before? I'm not sure your school teacher got teach you about osmosis. We will going to learn in chapter 3. Osmosis is a kind of water transport. It's a method to transport the water. And please remember that only water will be transported by osmosis, but not other method. So continue. So how about the mineral ion? Mineral ions, okay, they are something like this. You can imagine that this is the root hair cell, right? This is the root hair cell. Then this inside, there's a cell set of root hair cell. Then outside, there will be a lot of soil, okay? And soil contain water. Soil actually, they contain a very high amount of water. So we know that soil water. So soil water, naturally, they do have the very high water potential outside. Okay, this is because that you can see cell set root hair cell, actually, they contain a lot of iron inside. For example, I give you a sodium ion. Yeah, there's high concentration of sodium ion inside the cell set of the root hair cell. So since the cell set of the root hair cell, they do have the very high concentration of ions. See, ions, that means the water have very low concentration. Means the amount for the iron is more than water. Higher contents in the iron compared with water. Then how about soil water? Soil water, they do have the sodium, just that they have a very less amount of sodium. See, just very less amount, not as high as the cell set inside the root hair cell. So the soil water, they have more water compared to iron. So definitely, the soil water, they have a higher water potential. This is because that they have a more water contents compared to the iron. So they have more water potential. Okay, this cell set root hair cell, they have a lower water potential. So definitely, the water will be diffused from the soil water, which is have a higher water potential, into the cell set root hair cell. We have a lower water potential. So this is the how water move, okay, by the osmosis. Okay, osmosis. So how about the active transport? Active transport, okay, active transport is referred to the ion will be moving from the low concentrations to high concentration. So the ion will be moving in this way. See, from low to high concentration ion. And then it's because it's active transport, which is they transport against a continuous gradient. So you can describe in this way. Mineral ions uptake by root hair cell. okay, with active transport. So then you can continue describe as mineral iron will be transport from soil with low sodium concentration into the cell set of the root hair cell with higher concentration. So from low to high, that means it's a against concentration gradient. Against concentration gradient. So active transport, they require carrier proteins and ATP energy. This is because that you are transporting the iron from very low concentrations to the high concentration, right? See, from the low to high. So that means against. Okay, if from high to low, like just high water potential to low water potential, that means it's down the concentration gradient. That means it's down the concentration gradient. Okay, so this is the answer generally. Okay, I hope you can get it. Do you have any question to ask me? You can ask me. Yeah. Don't be shy. Okay, so now we'll start on the chapter 2.3, which is the level of the organizations. Yeah, so this is just for you to have a read. Actually, this is very less to be coming out in the exam. But you can see that this is the organ system. So for the plant, you have the shoot system and the root system. So what kind of organs they will comprise those systems is the shoot system will be comprised of the leaf, stems, flowers, fruits. Okay, and then inside the tissue, they have the xylem, phloem, and the mesophyll cell. Then how about in the root system? In the root system, okay, they do have the root hair cell, okay? Root hair cell, then they will form the tissue, which is the xylem, phloem, and the ground tissue. Okay, and then other is the digestive system, circulatory system. So this is the organ that are found inside. So we will slowly learn about those operation of the system, and then we know their functions and their detail. Okay, so this is just for you to have a look. Okay, so the diagram will leaf and the internal structure. So please identify that which is the answer. So the leaf is a organ or system or tissue. The leaf. Adam Suyang, the leaf is classified as organ, cell, or tissue.
Organ.
Yeah, it's organs. Yeah. So the answer is very clear. So it's organs. And then this number two is just refer to the one cell only. Yeah. So it's cell, and then the group of cell they will form a tissue. Yeah. So the answer is B. Okay. And then this site of specimens, I think you already know how to calculate it. So please always remember this formula. I is top, then below is A and M. Okay, so that means it's image over the actual site equal to magnification. So this will usually come out in the objectives. There will be only one questions coming out from this. Ask you to calculate how is the magnifications, how is the image size. Yeah. So you should always make them become the similar unit. Yeah. Yeah. So 1 centimeter equal to 10 millimeters, and then 1 millimeters. Okay. So 1 micrometers equal to 0.001 millimeters. So this is just how you convert. Okay, I think that's all for this chapter. Okay, So the question you may try, okay? You may try some of the question, and then I will give you the answer. This question is very interesting. Maybe you can have a try. Question number 2. See, which of the following order will be correct, showing the size of structure from biggest to smaller? See, biggest to smaller. So you want to have a guess? Chromosome, red blood cell, stomach, gene, and nucleus. Do you think this is true? I think this is not true, right? See, stomach will be the first one because stomach is biggest, right? So B and C, you can choose either one. Yeah. So from the stomach to red blood cell, gene and chromosome, or stomach to red blood cell, or nucleus, or chromosome, or gene. So the answer is which one? B or C?
C.
Yeah, it's C. Correct. Nice. Great. Why is C? Because this is the nucleus. I hope you realize it. Every cell, they have the nucleus except red blood cell only. Okay. So this is the nucleus. And then the nucleus inside, they do condense a lot of something like this. This is we call as chromosome. So chromosome in actual way, they are looking like this. They're just something like this. Okay, this is we call as chromosome. Chromosome. In 华语, it called as 染色体, okay? Chromosome. So why chromosome appear in this butterfly shape? This is because that chromosome, they will be spilled. They will be replicated during the meiosis. So they will spill like this. Yeah. So they need to form in this shape. So actually, this chromosome inside, they have a lot of, they are we call as condensed form. Chromosome is actually a condensed form of the chromatin. Condensed form of chromatin. Because chromatin is appear in this way. This is chromatin. Chromatin is just like thread-like structure. So when the thread-like structure like these chromatins, they undergo the condensations, they will form the chromosome. So inside the chromosome, they are actually comprised of a lot of DNA. Yeah, this is DNA. Yeah. Sorry, my drawing is a bit funny. Okay, but this is the DNA. Okay, DNA is a double-stranded. We call it as DNA. It's a double-stranded polynucleotide strand. Poly. Oh, we call it as polynucleotide. Polynucleotide strand. A bit complex for you to memorize, right? It's okay. We slowly will be learning those the polynucleotide. Poly in biology, that means there's a lot. Okay, you will learn this poly in biology also and in chemistry also. A polynucleotide, polysaccharide, and polypeptide. Poly means there's lots of I mean a lot of the unit. You can think like they're just like hundreds of the unit joined together, they will form a big structure. Poly. Okay, nucleotide is the basic unit for the DNA. Nucleotide, this one is a basic unit to form a DNA. So this is polynucleotide strand. And then where is the gene? Where is the gene? Gene is referred to the gene is something like this. Gene in Hawaii called as 基因. Okay, 基因. So where is 基因? 基因 is at here. Something like here. Yeah. This is the part of gene. This maybe is a gene A. And then this is maybe is another gene. This is maybe is another gene. Here, there will be gene B. And here maybe will be gene C. I think last time I told you about how proteins being produced from the cell. Okay, proteins produced from the cell, they need to undergo two process, which is known as the transcription and the translation. Not sure, do you remember or not? Transcription, maybe I can, from DNA to protein, right? They need to undergo the transcription and translation. I think I do show you the video, which is from DNA to protein. I think you have watched it. I hope you have watched it. So this gene, this is a gene. Gene, the definition for the gene, okay, for you to know is gene. The definition is a length or a portion of the DNA. A length of DNA, which encoded for protein. This is the length of the DNA. See, length of DNA means that just a short segment of the DNA. See, short segment of DNA. So at the end, this gene A, they will undergo the transcriptions and also the translation. They will produce proteins A. And then gene B also, they will produce their own protein B. And then this one, another protein C. So you can observe that DNA is a very, very big structure, big and complex structures. So every portion of the DNA, which is made out of a gene, so the genes will produce their own proteins. Yeah, so this is a story, okay? Maybe you are not too clear about it. It's okay. We will slowly learn about the DNA and the gene in detail in, I think it's in chapter 17, yeah. Okay, so generally we already complete about the chapter 2. Okay, so I would like to discuss the homework last week. Okay, I haven't discussed with you. I mean, I haven't discussed this homework with you, right? This one. Oh, I already did before. I think last time I discussed halfway only, right? Okay, generally your question is correct. Okay, both of you. Oh, I can see that the answer that you write is quite correct, accurate, but you can describe more. Okay, in biology we always encourage students to describe more in more detail. Okay, for example, mitochondria, okay, function, yeah, definitely is respiration, but it's what kind of respirations. So you can write this: to generate ATP energy from aerobic or anaerobic. Mitochondria produce aerobic or anaerobic respiration. Right? Aerobic respiration, yeah. Okay, only aerobic respirations, they will take place inside the mitochondria. Please always remember that. We have two kinds of respiration. One is aerobic, one is anaerobic. Aerobic means that in the presence of oxygens. Aerobic means that in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic means that without the oxygen. This is question number 10, yeah. So this is how the mitochondria function. Generally, the mitochondria, they will release or produce ATP energy. Yeah, this is a keyword. So you should always write the ATP energy. So how they produce the ATP energy? They produce the ATP energy from the aerobic respirations in the presence of the oxygen. Yeah. Okay. You say powerhouse of cell, also correct. Okay, at least you already say that produce energy. And then please always remember the equation for the aerobic respiration. It just inverted way to the photosynthesis. Okay, which is you require the usage of the glucose and oxygens, and then you will release a gas which is known as the Ethan Suyang, what kind of gas you release through the aerobic respiration? What kind of gas? Yes? Oh, I didn't hear your answer. Carbon dioxide, right? Carbon dioxide. And also water, you release water. And you release the ATP energy at the end. This is the equation for the aerobic respiration. This is the equation for the cellular, we call it cellular aerobic respiration. Actually, this cellular aerobic respiration is being performed by you in every second. Now you are performing the cellular aerobic respiration, okay? Because now you are doing what? You are inhaling the oxygen, right? So when you exhale the air, okay, you can put your hand in front of your mouth. Okay, you put your hand in front of your mouth and then you try to exhale a big amount of air. Like this. Okay, then you will feel what? You will feel some water, right? You will feel some water vapor release out from your mouth. And you can feel some heat, right? So this is the aerobic respiration. You inhale the oxygen and you intake the glucose. The glucose is you intake from food that you consume every day. Okay, so and then they will try to use the oxygen to break the glucose molecule, because inside the glucose molecule they do contain the chemical energy. So they want to release the chemical energy from the glucose to produce and convert become the ATP energy. So this ATP energy will be provided to the cell. See, ATP energy will be provided to cell to perform their cellular activity. For example, muscle cell, they will use this for the contraction and relaxations. The nerve cell, while they transmit the nerve impulse, they also require the ATP energy. So please always remember that the cell need energy just like human need money to survive, okay? Yeah. Okay. I think your answer is quite detailed. Okay. Yeah. Air space between the cell to oil diffusion of gas. Yeah, correct. I can see. Okay, you see you I think you just like a marker. Okay, so when I want to mark on the answer, I will try to see for some keywords. Okay, so you can say I saw the keyword tightly packed under the upper epidermis to maximize the light reaching the cell. Okay, this one tightly packed. Yeah. Okay, allow the sunlight, or you can see maximize the amount of sunlight to be absorbed to increase the rate of photosynthesis. You can write like this. Okay, just remember the keyword only, and then you use your own sentence to link the keyword together. Okay, to maximize the absorption of sunlight to increase the rate of photosynthesis. Okay, spongy muscle cell, yeah, they have a large airspace for efficient gas exchange. Okay, so generally it's correct. It's good. The answer. Okay, gut cell transpiration reduced in water loss. Okay, this is okay. Generally, I think your answer is quite good. Yeah. So maybe I can show you about this, the chapter 2 importance point. Okay. So in every chapter that you learn, I will give you this, we call as quiz card. Okay, quiz card. Because in biology, you have a lot of terms need to learn, and you have some terms also need to memorize. And then, especially for the paper 4, it requires you to answer the question by using the biological specific term. So the most problem faced by the student is they can't really memorize, or they always forget what kind of correct term they should write in the exam. They understand the concept, just like they can't describe the concept with the correct biology term. So this is how you should describe, yeah? Yeah, so I already list in this document. Yeah, you can have a look. Okay, the difference between animal and plant cell, yeah, is just the plant cell, they do have the vacuole, they have the chloroplast, vacuole, chloroplast, and the cell wall, which is they don't exist in the animal cell. And then please always know that prokaryote cell belong to bacteria. They are example of bacteria. Okay, the 5 kingdom, you should know, right? Which is the Animalia, Plantae, fungi, then the prokaryote, and also the protista. So prokaryote is only the one, yeah, which is belongs to the prokaryote because they don't have any nucleus. They do not contain any nucleus, and also the membrane organelle. And then you should know the structure in the prokaryote cell, which is they have a very long tail, we call it as flagella. And then they have a plasmid. See, this one, plasmid. Plasmid is a kind of DNA. In bacteria, you have 2 types of DNA, yeah? One is the circular DNA. 2 types of DNA in the bacterial cell. Circular DNA. Or we call it as naked DNA, okay? Because the DNA are exposed to the outside without covered by nucleus. So secondly, they have the plasmid. It is also a type of DNA. Yeah, it is something like this. Okay, this plasmid is very useful for the genetic engineering. We will learn in chapter 20 and chapter 21. Genetic engineering. Means that you will learn how to modify the DNA of the organism, and you insert the DNA from other organism. Yeah, it will be interesting to know. Yeah, so please remember that the cell wall, okay, is to provide support. Okay, so the cell membrane is they will control the movement in and out of the cell. For example, some substance such as the oxygen, water, and carbon dioxide. At the nucleus, there are 2 functions of nucleus. Nucleus, the first one, they do contain, and you can say that they store the genetic material. The nucleus, I'm teaching you how to answer the paper by using the correct keyword, yeah? So the nucleus, they store the genetic material. What is genetic material? Such as DNA, okay? Or you can write chromosome. And they do contain the control cellular activity of cell. So you can see there's 2 functions inside the nucleus. And then the cell wall, okay? The plant cell wall are generally made of the cellular. Cellular is a kind of fiber. In Hawaii, we call it 纤维, okay? Fiber. And then the fungi, we call it chitin. Okay, chitin is a very hard structure. Do you remember about the insect? Okay, for example, the cockroach. Okay, I'm not sure you hate cockroach, but I hate cockroach a lot. Cockroach, they have a very hard outer exoskeleton, right? These are the exoskeleton. Okay, maybe I can show you an example of the exoskeleton. Because majority exoskeletons, they are made up from the chitin, especially in the insect. I show you some image for you to have a look. This one. See, this is the exoskeleton of the insect. In insect, okay, do insect have any hard bone inside? Do they have bone? Just like human, they have it or not? Bone. Do you think they have bone? B-O-N-E.
No. No.
Yeah, they don't have bone. So you can see if they don't have bone, how can they support themselves? They are supported by this hard exoskeleton. This one. See, very hard. Actually, this hard exoskeleton is made from chitin. So chitin is very, very, very hard structure. Actually, chitin is a kind of protein. Okay, it's a kind of protein. Okay, I'll continue. So you can see my screen again, right? Can see, yeah? Okay. Fungi cell wall. Cell wall of fungi is made from the chitin, okay? And then the cell wall of bacteria. Still remember that the bacteria contain the cell wall, right? See this one, cell wall. Okay. The cell wall of bacteria, they are made of very special structure we call as peptidoglycan, okay? So what is meant by peptidoglycan? Peptidoglycan is just a structure they made of bacteria, okay? So maybe you can think that how antibiotic kill bacteria. How antibiotic kill bacteria? Because every time when we go to visit doctor, and then doctor will always subscribe us with the antibiotic, and then they want to treat your secondary bacterial infections. Yeah. So actually, the cell wall of bacteria, this one, this bacterial cell wall. This bacterial cell wall actually is being targeted by the antibiotic. Yeah. Target by antibiotic. So antibiotic, how they kill the bacteria is they will target on the cell wall of the bacteria, and then they will punch a hole on the cell wall, and then the whole bacteria will be lysis structure. Yeah, just like someone they punch, I mean they will use a knife to punch you with a hole, and then you will slowly die. Okay. Because IGCSE they ask you, I mean they ask this kind of question before. Okay, how antibiotic kill the bacteria? How antibiotic kill bacteria? So by antibiotic will target on cell wall of bacteria. So and then they will cause lysis of bacteria. Because antibiotic only able to kill bacteria. However, they are unable to kill virus, yeah? Antibiotic only can kill bacteria, not virus. Okay? Because some some students they will misunderstood that the antibiotic can kill bacteria, also virus, but actually it cannot. No, it cannot. Okay, so the mitochondria, the function is to release energy from aerobic respiration. So you can say this is how the keyword that you're able to include in the answer. Chloroplast is to allow the photosynthesis to take place, and then they will produce the starch, okay, which is a glucose, okay, because glucose is a form of the starch, okay. Maybe you can think in this way. In the photosynthesis equation, you will produce glucose, right? Okay, glucose, after they being produced on the leaf of the cytoplasm, produced in the leaf of the plants. After they being produced, they will convert into sucrose. For information, the plant will transport their we call as their food molecule in terms of sucrose, but not glucose. Yeah, sucrose, because sucrose will not affect the osmotic pressure of the plant cell. So after that, the sucrose they will convert into the starch for storage. Starch means 淀粉, okay? Starch. In the rice and also the potato, you found a lot of starch. They make you very full, okay? So photosynthesis is a process which they will produce the glucose, and then they will convert it become the starch, because they will store their extra energy in form of starch. And then ribosome, just for the protein synthesis only, is very simple as that. And then how about vacuole? Vacuole, they will store the cell sap, see, which is the water. Just like I told you that root hair cell, the cell sap or root hair cell, right? Actually, what is meant by cell sap? Cell sap is just the water content inside the cell itself. We call it cell sap. So usually the cell sap, they just contains water, salt, and some sugars. Okay, so the vacuole inside, they have water inside because they want to help to maintain the shape of the cell. Okay, so that's why the plant cell will appear turgid. So they will form a turgid plant cell. We will learn what is meant by turgid plant cell. Means the plant cell, they will get a lot of water stored inside the vacuole, so they will expand and they will become very turgid. Means very fresh, and inside their content is full with water. Then how about the rough endoplasmic reticulum? Rough endoplasmic reticulum is just like a railway, see, the railway, okay, because they help to transport the proteins made by ribosome to Golgi apparatus. To Golgi apparatus. So IR is just a membrane-bound system together with the ribosome, because the endoplasmic reticulum, you are comprised of the rough ER and also the smooth ER, right? Rough ER, they just help to transport protein only. Then the smooth ER will be helping the lipid synthesis. I told you before, right? I'm not sure. Maybe I can write down here. You have the smooth ER. Smooth ER means that they don't have any ribosome attached on the surface. So smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, they usually do for lipid synthesis and also detoxification. Yeah. Detoxification means that they will remove away the toxins in your body. They will convert the toxic substance become non-toxic. Okay, converts the toxic become non-toxic. So there's one kind of the organs in our body, they help in detoxifications. Okay, it's very important. So the organs help in detoxification is liver. Okay, so there's a high amount of SCR in the liver. For your information. Okay, so liver is very important to us. If without liver, our body will be accumulate with a lot of toxin, and then we will not live so long. Okay, then why do cells with high rate of metabolism need a lot of mitochondria? Okay, you will realize that some cells, they have a lot of mitochondria, but some cells don't. Okay, example of cell which they have the mitochondria is, for example, cell with high amount of mitochondria, they will belong to sperm cell. Yeah, sperm cell, they do have the mitochondria, okay? And also one more is the silk tube cell. This is in the plant. Yeah. So because that they know that the cell, they need to carry a lot of the activity, so they always need the large amount of energy. So that's why they need the mitochondria. Okay. Muscle cell is one of it. Okay, muscle cell is also one of it. They have the mitochondria. Okay, and then vesicle. Vesicle is just like just how you see in the picture. So and then they would like to come out the structure, picture of vesicle, which is this is cell, right? And then this is a nucleus, and then this is a lot of the organelles. Okay, so can see this small sac-like thing, they will be the vesicle. Sometimes they will be come to outside. So this is vesicle. Vesicle is just like we classify it as small vacuole. Small vacuole is being surrounded by the single membrane only. So they are found in the cytoplasm and they will be stored and help to transport the product. So in the vesicle, we have two types for your information. Two types of vesicle. One is we call as the transport vesicle. Transport vesicle. Another one we call as secretory vesicle. Secretory. But in exam, you just write vesicle is enough for you to get a mark already. Where is transport vesicle? Okay, you still remember that after the proteins, they are being synthesized in the, they are being synthesized in the ribosome. Okay, so you need the rough endoplasmic reticulum to help to transport the proteins, okay, made out from the ribosome to the Golgi apparatus. So this is the timing they will use the vesicle. Maybe I can show some video. Wait me for a while. I show some picture. Sorry. Transport and the secondary vesicle. Biology should be studied better and clearer with the aid of diagram. Transport and secondary vesicle. Secondary vesicle. I have a great picture to show you. This is a very nice picture. Yeah, you can have a look on this. You can see my screen, right? See?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the nucleus. So from the nucleus, the outside will be the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So rough endoplasmic reticulum, they do contain this small organelle, which is ribosome. Okay, they have the ribosome at here. Ribosome. And then after the ribosome, they will produce the proteins. They will produce protein. So protein is a substance, right? So ribosome, they produce a protein, and then the rough endoplasmic reticulums, they need to help to transport the proteins. See, they transport the protein from ribosome, they will reach the Golgi. But between the between the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi, there is a space between them. See, here is a space. So how do they transport protein? They will transport protein in this vesicle. So this vesicle we call as transport vesicle because they help to carry the protein from the rough endoplasmic reticulum and then they reach the Golgi apparatus. So this we know as transport vesicle. So once the protein arrives the Golgi apparatus with the help of transport vesicle, the Golgi will be performed what? The function of Golgi, you need to know. The function of Golgi is they will do the processing, packaging, processing, packaging, and then modification. See, modification of the proteins and also the lipid. Okay, and the lipid too. Golgi is just like a factory, yeah, because Golgi apparatus they will get the protein, right? And then they can modify the protein into something product which is really useful. So when the product comes from the Golgi apparatus, they will not become protein anymore. They will not only the pure protein, but they will become the products, which is, for example, antibody. And also maybe enzyme, maybe hormones. Hormones, okay? Hormones. So these three are final protein product. Those are the final protein product. Which can be utilized by your body cell for more useful process. Okay, so you should know the difference between the proteins and the protein product, yeah? Because here is just a protein only, see? Only proteins. But here is a very useful final protein products. Antibody is very useful, right? They're able to carry out their function, which is they can help to kill and fight the pathogens. And enzyme, they will catalyze the chemical reactions, okay? Hormones, they will regulate your body process. So because initially the protein is just a protein only. Okay, you should know that protein is useless, okay? Protein is useless because protein is just a raw material. you need this raw material to modify it so they will become the protein product, which is useful. Yeah, so this is the concept. So the ribosome, they will produce a protein, which is the raw material. So the Golgi apparatus, they will just acting like the factory. Okay, so the factory is always transport the raw material from other place, right? Then they will mix all the raw material, they will process, and then they will convert it, become a very useful product. So but the Golgi is just like a factory. Okay, you can imagine. But in the exam, you cannot write factory. Yeah. Factory is just for your concept to know only. You should write the proper term, which is process, packaging, modification of protein and lipid. Okay. So another one, you can write that. So apart from this protein product, you also have, maybe you can write as glycoprotein. 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 What is meant by glyco? Glyco. Do you know the meaning of glyco? Glycoprotein. Tell me. Glyco means carbohydrate, yeah? Yeah. And you also have glycolipid. Glycol. Okay, glycoprotein, glycolipid means that carbohydrates combine with protein. So they will form glycoprotein. And carbohydrate change, they will combine with lipid, they will form the glycolipid. To produce glycoprotein and glycolipid. Yeah, so this is the answer that you're able to write in your exam. So after the Golgi, they successfully create the useful products, okay? And then they need to release the products to the external environment, right? To the extracellular environment. So how they release a product is they will release product by secretory vesicle. So this is the secretory vesicle here. This is secretory vesicle. So you can imagine that inside the secretory vesicle, there's a lot of useful protein product. For example, this is an antibody inside, and then they will release it, and then antibody will come out. Yeah, will come out from the cell. Okay, so this is the process. Yeah. So actually, biology no need to memorize. You just need to understand only. Yeah. So vesicle, they are very, very small vacuole. Okay, please remember that plant have a large central vacuole, but animal cell, okay, I refer to plant cell. Plant cell have a large centralized vacuole, but animal cell, they only have small vesicle or small vacuole. That's all. So vesicle are usually found in the cytoplasm, so they will help to transport the product. Okay, so yeah, and then those are the distribution. You just need to read only. Okay, but please take note of those things. See, the ciliated cell. Ciliated cell. Cilia is only one L only. Cilia. Okay, cilia is called as xian mao in Mandarin. So we call it cilia pitting. Cilia pitting. Yeah, cilia pitting is found along your respiratory tract. Respiratory tract. So for your information, the epithelium on the respiratory tract, they have a very specific name we call as ciliated columnar epithelium. So this is the respiratory tract lining. So what is meant by cilia pitting? Cilia pitting is like moving forward, backward, forward, backward. So why they need to move like this? Because they are helping to move the mucus. Okay, mucus is just like the sticky yellowish substance which is produced from your nose when you are sneezing. Those are mucus. So the mucus, they will help to trap the dust away from the lung in the trachea. So mucus will trap the dust. Okay, the keyword is, see, mucus trap the dust, And then cilia move the mucus. Yeah, cilia move the mucus by cilia beating. Yeah. So since cilia is always beating, right? So inside they also contain a lot of mitochondria to release energy. So this is how the cilia, they will get energy, they will continue the beating to move the mucus everywhere. And then how about the root hair cell? Okay, root hair cell is they want to absorb the water by osmosis and also the mineral ion by active transport. Please always remember the way how they get the water and mineral ion from the soil. So they have a very long extension with a very large surface area, so they can absorb more water and mineral ion. Yeah, you can see this is how you describe it. Okay, how about xylem? Xylem vessel, okay, they help to transport water and mineral ion. Xylem vessel, they transport water and also mineral ion. You can add more water and mineral ion. Yeah. So from where to where? From roots to leaf. And also they're able to provide the support to the cell. How they able to support the leaf? This is because that the xylem, they have a thickened wall by lignin. What is lignin? Lignin is very hard substance. Is they produce from the hard wood. Okay, it's produced from the wood, so it's very hard. And then please remember that cell wall, I mean the xylem vessel is always a dead cell. It's a dead cell without any cytoplasm. Okay, without cytoplasm means that there's no cytoplasm content inside the xylem. So the xylem always appear with the empty space inside because there's no living cytoplasm inside. And then they have no end wall. No end wall. So they're able to create a long continuous flow of the water. So this is how you're able to describe them. Okay, then yeah, and the ripple cell, they don't have the nucleus. They are biconcave shape. Biconcave shape. Their shape just similar with I mean with the dish that you're eating the rice. Okay, so why they don't have the nucleus is because that they want to allow more space to carry the oxygen. Yeah, so this is the reason they don't have the nucleus. See, more space for the hemoglobin. And then red blood cell is an animal cell, yeah. So that means they don't have the cell wall. They do not have the cell wall. They only have cell membrane. So they are very fragile and they're able to rupture if they get too much of the water, okay? So see, flexible cell membrane. And then, yeah. Okay, sperm cell. Sperm cell, okay, please remember about their structure, yeah. See, they have a long tail, which is a flagellum. They have a very large amount of mitochondria because they always swimming forwards and moving. Yeah, sperm cell. And then they have a haploid nucleus, which they contain genetic material inside. And they have a acrosome, okay, on the cap, on the head of the cap of the sperm. So they do contain the enzyme. So they're able to digest the jelly cord of the egg. Okay, this one we'll learn more in the reproduction chapter. Okay, so how about the ovum? Ovum, they have also the haploid nucleus inside it. They have the jelly cord. Jelly cord is surrounding the ovum. Okay, so after that, after fertilization, jelly cord will harden. Yeah. After fertilization, means that once sperm successfully penetrate into the ovum and then fuse with the ovum, they will produce the we call as zygote, diploid zygote. So after fertilization, the jelly cord of ovum will harden. They will harden. So once they harden, they will to prevent more than one sperm to enter into ovum. Yeah. So please remember that in order to create a zygote, okay, zygote is just like one sperm, okay? For you to understand. One sperm fused with one ovum by fertilization, they will form a one diploid zygote, yeah. Then this zygote, they will become the embryo. Yeah. Then this embryo, they will become a baby, a developing baby. Okay. So only one sperm able to fuse with the ovum, not two sperm fused with one ovum, or two ovum fused with one sperm. There will be not, there will be not phenomenon occur like this. Okay. So only one sperm with one ovum. Okay. For example, if there is more than one sperm able to penetrate into ovum, so the ovum will be not able to fertilize. Okay. So one sperm with one ovum only. Okay, so please remember about this formula for the calculation. Okay, because this one is the easier question to get mark. Okay, from the centimeter become the millimeter will times tens. Then how about for the millimeter to the micrometer, you need to times 1,000. And for the micrometer, you get the nanometer, you need to times another 1,000 again. Okay, so when you get back, you will just divide 1,000. Okay, so generally there's the important point for the chapter 2 that you need to know. So I hope that is quite easy for you, right? Yeah, because I saw for your homework, okay, both of you get the correct answer. Yeah, the homework that you submit to me today. Yeah, both of you get the correct answer. Okay. Keep the good work. Okay, so now we will talk about the chapter 3. Okay, please open the notes for chapter 3, and after you're ready, let me know. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Another 15 more minutes. Okay, it's okay. So in this chapter, we call it movement in and out of cell. Maybe we can have a look on the video. Okay, why we are looking, why we are learning this chapter. Okay. You have a look on this video. See. This shows the cell membrane of the cell. See, this is the cell membrane of the cell, or we call it as plasma membrane of the cell. You can see that they are double layer. Can you see? It's double layer. It's a double layer with a lot of proteins embedded in it. And then it's free flowing. It's slightly free flowing. Okay, this is how the cell membrane look like. Cell membrane of every cell look like, because every cell they have a cell membrane, right? No matter is plant cell or animal cell, they must have the cell membrane. Okay, so cell membrane is comprised of this two-layer structure we know as the phospholipid bilayer. Okay, so and then I send you the document in the WeChat group with the chapter 3 graphic. Okay, maybe you can open, then you can scribble your notes on it. Okay, so this is how phospholipid bilayer look like. We call as the phospholipid bilayer. Phospholipid. Bilayer. Why it called as phospholipid? Phospholipid is, they refer to this thing. This thing. Okay, so phospholipid is, when you enlarge it, you can see like this. Okay, so this is we call as phospholipid molecule. Phospholipid molecule. So they are comprised of one head and how many tube? 2 tube, right? But this tube cannot allow them to walk. Unfortunately, okay, they are able to walk by using these 2 tube. Okay, but yeah, so this is the structure. Okay, the head they do contain the phosphate group inside. Their phosphate group exists inside the head. P. Then how about TIL? The TIL, they actually is comprised of the 2 fatty acid. 2 fatty acid TIL. Fatty acid, you know, is lipid soluble, right? Fatty acid. In 华语 call it 脂肪酸, okay? Fatty acid. So this head we call as is a hydrophilic because they love water. They are water loving. Head is hydrophilic. Hydrophilic. They love water. However, the two TIL, they hate water a lot. They hate it. They cannot stay with water. So they are called as hydrophobic. So as you can imagine that this is the cell membrane of the cell, right? And then the cell membrane of the cell is just something like this. Maybe I can, yeah, this is a cell. And then this is the nucleus. This is cytoplasm, right? And then the cell, they do contain the inside of the cell and also the outside of the cell. So when you enlarge this cell membrane, it will look something like this, okay? One is extracellular space, which is outside of cell. Extracellular refer to outside of the cell environment, outside. And then you have the intracellular space, which is inside the cell content, which is the cytoplasm. Because cytoplasm is inside the cell. It's a content, it's a cell contents of the cell. Yeah. So, okay. So you know that this is a phospholipid bilayer. So you have you have this hydrophilic TIL facing to outside. See? Oh, sorry, hydrophilic head. I say the wrong term already. Okay. See this one? This one? Hydrophilic head. Head. This is because that the extracellular space and the intracellular space, as you can see that they are filled with water. So only hydrophilic head able to stand out with water. However, the 2 fatty acid, which is hydrophobic, they unable to stay along with water. So they will face inward to each other. Yeah, so this is orientation. You can see the 2 fatty acids, they will face towards each other. So they will form a hydrophobic regions between the phospholipid bilayer. So this is called as the hydrophobic region here. Okay, and also here. We call as the hydrophobic. Yes, they hate water a lot. Okay, and usually hydrophobics, they hate water, right? But they are soluble in lipid. So they are lipid soluble. Hydrophobic because they contain 2 fatty acids, so they are lipid soluble. Lipid soluble means that they can allow any particle which is lipid soluble to pass through the plasma membrane. Okay, so another thing that you should know is between the phospholipid bilayer, they have this cholesterol. Cholesterol, I'm sure you heard about cholesterol before, right? Your parents like to say, wow, my cholesterol is so high. Okay, cholesterol. The high cholesterol is bad thing, okay? That cholesterol means 胆固醇, okay, cholesterol. So you can see cholesterol is just formed by 4 rings. 1, 2, 3, 4. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is cholesterol. It's comprised of 4 hydrocarbon rings. Some book would describe it like this. 4 hydrocarbon ring. Cholesterol. Then how about another thing that you should know is inside the phospholipid bilayer, they are being inserted with the proteins. Proteins, see, there's a protein inside. And usually there's 2 types of proteins found inside the phospholipid bilayer. The 2 types of protein, which is proteins, 2 types of proteins. Type of proteins we call as carrier proteins. and channel protein. I enlarge my word so small. See? Carrier protein and channel protein. The carrier proteins, they refer to this thing. This is an example of the carrier protein. Carrier protein. Then this is an example of channel protein. See? Channel protein. You can see they will form a small hollow channels. Yeah. So what's the function of the protein? So the proteins stay inside the phosphate barrier they help to transport certain molecule. Okay, because some molecule they are unable to directly pass through the phosphate barrier, so they are required the help of the carrier proteins. Okay. Yeah. And then you should know is the see glycolipid, glycoprotein. Yeah. Okay, glycoprotein and glycolipid. What is the functions? This is more deeper layer. I mean the deeper level of understanding. Okay, if you don't understand, it's okay. But you can imagine that in every cell they have a marker. Okay, they have a marker. So because that the cell is classified as the cell which is produced by your own body, right? We know as cell, which is a cell produced by own body. Sorry, I typed it out. Cell produced by own body cell. On body cell. And we also have non-cell. What is mean by non-cell? Non-cell means that the cell, they are not produced by your body, but a foreign cell enter into your body because non-cell. It's not from your body cell. Okay, you got foreign cell enters the body. For example, pathogens, any pathogens that will enter your body. So for example, virus and bacteria. So you can imagine that every cell, they have we call as glycolipid and glycoproteins. We call something like it just acting like a marker, like the identification of the cell. Okay, so at that Suyang, who can recognize you? You also have the identification marker, right? You have the IC with you. You have the identification card with you. So in the cell also, they have their own identification cards, which is their glycoprotein and the glycolipid. So the important for the cell to have this glycoprotein and glycolipid is they want to enable them to classify them is either cell or non-cell. Okay, because this is very important for the immunity. Yeah, because for example, the immune cell, they will recognize this cell or this cell is from our own body, so I will no need to attack this cell. But if the cell is not from your own body, but it's just a foreign cell enter the body, so it will be recognized by your immune cell. Right? Oh, this cell with this kind of glycoprotein structure, glycolipid, is not from my body. I need to attack it. It may be something dangerous, okay, like any pathogen enters into a cell. Okay, so this is just for the cell recognition need for the glycoprotein, glycolipid, their function. Just for the cell function, cell recognition and identification. So do you remember? I mean, do you understand my description just now for the glycoprotein and glycolipid? Can you get it, Adam Suyang?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope you really get it because this is quite hard to understand. Yeah, so just imagine that glycoprotein and glycolipid is just like your identification card. So cell also they have their own identification card. Yeah, that's all. Okay, so this topic we'll learn about 3 types of the transport method of transport in and out of cell. So which is a diffusion, or we call it simple diffusion. The osmosis, just so we learn. Osmosis is only involved in the water transport. Just water, not other substance, okay? Water transport. And the active transport, yeah, which is involved in the transport of the large and the polar molecule. Large and the polar molecule, just like iron. Okay, sodium ion, chloride ions, and also got the glucose, and also some the amino acid. Yeah, they are transported in this way. So why we are learning this movement in and out of cell? Because that transport of the substance is always occurs inside and outside the cell, right? So just like what kind of the method they use to transport the substance across the cell is they were using these three method. Okay, so maybe we can talk about, oh my god, just left 4 minutes. Okay, I will just describe some about the diffusion. Okay, the diffusion is a movement of the molecule from the region of the high concentrations to the region of low concentrations. Okay, the concentrations is refer to the amount of the particle in that specific region. For example, you can see this picture. Have a look at this picture. This is the phosphorus barrier, and then one is inside. See, inside and outside. And then you can definitely see that outside of the cell, they have more molecule, right? See, more molecule outside compared to inside. So definitely the molecule will be diffused from the outside, which is they have the higher concentration because they're higher in number, okay, higher in number, into the lower concentration, which is they will be lesser in the number. So they will transport in this way. Yeah. So this is how the substance will be transported by the simple diffusion through the phosphorus barrier and enter into the cell. Enter into the cell. So for this topic, it's actually very easy. Okay, you just need to memorize the definition. Okay, but definitely no need to memorize. You just need to understand only. Okay, so the keyword is movement of a molecule from high to low. High to low means it's down the gradients. So this is diffusion. Okay, the simple diffusion. So application of the simple diffusion in our real life will be, for example, yeah, those are the application. Okay, see, diffusion in the living organism. This like to be coming out in the exam. For example, the leaf. Okay, just how we talk about the leaf, right? They will intake the carbon dioxide. They will absorb the carbon dioxide and then they will release the oxygens. Okay, for the photosynthesis, during photosynthesis. So how the carbon dioxide able to get into the leaf is they are using this simple diffusion. See, yeah. Also, this method they will allow the carbon dioxide intake into the leaf by simple diffusions, and then they will allow the oxygen to be released out also by simple diffusion. So as simple as that. Why carbon dioxide able to diffuse inside? This is because that carbon dioxide at the outside atmosphere, they do have the higher concentrations. Meaning that outside the environment have the higher, higher concentration of carbon dioxide. Outside higher, however, inside the airspace between the mesophyll cell, right? Between the mesophyll cell, they have a lower concentration of carbon dioxide. So the rules of the simple diffusion is they will always diffuse from the high to low concentrations, which is from 高浓度 to 低浓度. Okay, concentration is refer to the 浓度. So this is how they did. Okay, so how about the oxygen? Okay, the oxygens, because that inside the mesophyll cell they have the higher concentration of oxygen. However, outside the environment they have a lower concentration of oxygen. So the oxygen will be diffused from inside to the outside. Yeah, so as simple as that. Okay, and then the lung. Okay, in our lung we have the structure called as alveolus. This one. This one. Okay. I think you learned it before. Alveolus. Alveolus is a tiny structure in our lungs. So they are surrounded by a network of blood capillary. You can see that. See, this is the blood capillary, surrounded by network of blood capillary. So you can imagine that how your blood capillary between your alveolus, how they get the oxygen is because that alveolus, right, during inhalations, they will intake oxygen. So the oxygen will be diffused into the bloodstream. See, just like this. See, oxygen from the alveolus they will enter into the bloodstream. So this is how the red blood cell in the blood capillary, they will get the oxygens. So they will transport the oxygen to another respiring tissue. And then the respiring tissue, they will release the carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide will travel by the bloodstream through the vein, then they will release the carbon dioxide to the alveolus. Yeah, they will release it to the alveolus. So this is alveolus, they will release the carbon dioxide through the exhalation. So one is inhalation, they will inhale the carbon dioxide, inhale the oxygen, and then they will exhale just like what we are doing for now, okay? Just we didn't realize it. Okay, so I think that's all for today. I hope you enjoy the class. Really hope you enjoy the class, okay? Because biology is very interesting, okay? I hope that when you're learning about biology, you are not feeling like you are just memorizing, okay? This is not a good way to study biology. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you for your time. I will send homework later. Okay, bye.